back to the Get Validated podcast. You get validated anytime you do something kind and loving for yourself, especially setting a boundary. And I can think of no one better to talk about boundaries with than Tracy L Clark. And I'm just so grateful to have her here because I actually start my day with her every day in the Miraculous Academy with her energy clearings and her just amazing insight. And it's literally how Archer, my cat, and I start every single morning. So I'm just so grateful to have you here, Tracy.
I'm so thrilled to be here because I've seen you grow and shift in your heart space. And you know me, I'm an animal lover. So all of our animals, they're getting more intuitive right now too. They're always intuitive, but they're loving the love vibe. They're like all over it. So I send
Archer and
our
I have our little family therapy appointment on Tuesday. So I'm really excited for that.
I love it. I love it.
So I'll put the full bio below, but if you are not in Tracy L. Clark's world, I highly recommend it. She is a speaker, a healer, a teacher. She's founder of the Miraculous Academy, and that's where I start my day. She has several other memberships. She's all over Instagram and TikTok, and really just one of the biggest pioneers as far as building the new earth. And I love what you said about watching me grow because it even took a lot in me to invite you to the first summit. And when you said yes, like I still just get like choked up about it. And the fact that we get to like hang out in this capacity is just a huge blessing. And we were talking before hitting record about my detox from mold and yeast, and of course, how much that's related to trauma. So I'm so grateful that we cleared some of that before getting on together. And I
And
thought it kind of,
also deep rage. So guys, when you've got mold and yeast, it's hidden subconscious deep rage. That's something that did happen in your life and you didn't know how to get out of it. And what do? We bury it. So yes.
yes. And I was telling her how funny it was that it happened. We were talking about this today because I actually had a nightmare last night that I overslept because I was drugged and I missed my first client this morning who I love, and I missed Tracy and I's interview, and I was just absolutely distraught because my family was the one that was holding me back from being able to do it. So it's kind of crazy that we were able to clear all of that, and I'm beyond grateful. And I thought it'd be kind of fun for us to pull a card from our body regeneration deck.
I got mine. You know me, I live with them every day too. Yes, we can pull a few clear people, whatever.
I thought it was super fun and to see what we come up with. It's really cool. One of my clients has, I mean, she's amazing. She probably has like 50 card decks in her house, and they're just like all around her desk. And two of the decks she does not have, I only have three decks. I have this, I have a Rebecca Campbell, and then I have a Doreen Virtue.
Oh, yeah.
And I pull cards for her, and she was like, oh my God, these are literally spot on. They were very specific to kidneys and lymphatic and then like something else. And it was just really cool. So if you're looking for an amazing new deck, I cannot recommend the body regeneration method enough. And I go to the little part online and get a little video from Tracy as far as like what the card means and how to clear it.
And don't forget, we had also what I love doing that. We're going to do another one a couple times a year. We have another one coming up soon, but it's just where we all jump on Zoom. Well, how many people can? I might have to move them to a webinar, but I like bringing people down, but going on, you just ask questions like, what about this? Or how about this card? And we just play. We just have fun. Yeah.
I love it. And it's so funny. I pulled the Align to Your Elements card. And I was also just going to share too, if you are feeling something in your gut and your intuition that something is changing with the banks and money, Tracy L. Clark is the person you need to be following. Ever since I was a kid, I was like obsessed with gold and silver, which is why I love pirates and like all these things. And then, Outer Banks, like all these, I feel like they're little like drops, right, from spirit as far as like, this is going to come back. And Tracy has some amazing courses and webinars on like what the future of actual currency is going to look like. So I definitely encourage you to look into that.
Well, we get afraid, right? People are afraid because we have so many imprints and programs from what we've been in, and it's understanding where those imprints and programs need to be released
Yeah.
so we can move forward. And one of the things you've noticed even in the academy is I'm like, okay, these are who I trust. And you can ask questions, right? This is who I trust, and this is what I'm doing, whether, whatever direction they're in. And I just say, do what feels right. We move the imprints, but I know I'm like, even crypto, you can be overwhelmed, but I'm like, okay, well, this is what I'm doing, take it or leave it. But you can see past history has proven spirit's been really, really good. So I have an edge because it was my old world, right? So I was alternative investing, buying, selling my own companies. So that was my old world before. I'm like, I'm not selling my soul to the devil anymore. Like, oh my God, I got to get out of here, right? People are like, you woke up 22 years ago, girl. How did you sustain? I'm like, trust me, some days were like, put me back to bed, put me back to bed. I don't want to know all this stuff. But it's the way to shift and move. And I'm happy you brought the cards up because we have, and I've got some too. I've got Doreen Virtue's cards here. I like them still, her big one. And I know she's changed, but I take the energy of the card. I have some when I'm doing read it now as I do the different cards with the energy ones. But there was nothing out there. I'm like, these are all great tools like astrology, but I was like, we need something that has energy embedded in it that we can say, what do I need to shift? Because you and I know it comes within. And you just pulled the elements card. And one of the things which is really cool, you pulled that right now, no surprise. At Spirit Toad is the water element is missing for a lot of people right now. And it's because the earth element in energy has been taken over by the way we've been co-opted by the dark energies, right? They're programming stuff like that. So the water allows things to flow in and out. So I'm not surprised you pulled the element for people listening, and we can strengthen that. So for people, you just tune into your heart, you receive that energy. I always teach you how to move it and shift it. But for the people watching, we can just shift it to increase. And you're very good. You're really getting to work with them, and you're noticing how your intuition's changing, right? By using them. Like you see it's a
It's
start.
amazing.
Yeah. And then you see how spirit gives you another when you're working with your clients. This is why I say to people, they're so great. I encourage people to use them with their clients because I have like functional medicine doctors, people like, they're like, I'm using these with my clients. And then we're shifting the energy deeper. And then they're saying, I can't believe the messages I'm getting. And I know you're having the same experience. So you can help people more. And then your intuition grows more because the more you use it, the more spirit goes, oh, they're using their intuition. Let's give them more. And then your heart opens more and you get more from spirit.
100%. And a perfect example that we just experienced was glutamine is one of the many, many supplements I'm taking for my detox. And even my Chinese medicine doctor is like, you can do whatever dose you want. I'm like, okay, 500 milligrams to 30,000 milligrams. Like, give me some insight. And Tracy was able to give me some insight on exactly how much to take, which is just like a huge, huge blessing. So, blending that world of medicine, labs, data, but then like really honoring your intuition and listening to your body is so important. And I love also about the water. I'm just remembering some faint memory of when we were in school and we learned that Earth is 70% water, and that blowing my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I don't even know if we teach that in school anymore.
Well, they don't. And that's why Dr. Emoto's work was so important, right? I know when I was on a film that he's in, I helped to executive produce. I was talking to the fellow, it's called What If? We were talking on the weekend again, and we did another one. I'm in that one. I have dark hair and I've changed so much. If you want to see how much people change on energy, if you go to my website under the movie, The Grand Self, and you go watch it, I'm telling you, you're like, that's not even the same person. But it's proof because it was quite a few years ago. Like I want to say like 9, 10 years ago. It shows how when we change energetically, our physical appearance changes, right? Our emotional appearance changes. And Dr. Emoto, his work will be legendary when people really watch it, because now my water is gone because, well, almost I drank, but that old, how I taught with the love and just the transformation of how everything we put in our body. And you're correct. And that's why the water elements have been tainted. That's why the water elements have been shoved aside during these last 3 years. So people aren't getting the flow, because they know once you have that flow and everything being a life force energy, You're going to become more intuitive. You're going to stand up for yourself. You're going to say like, okay, I want to be my sovereign being. I am a child of God. Your boundaries are going to become very strong. And that's what these old energies, darker energies, whatever people want to call them, whatever works for you, they're so worried and so afraid because they go, oh my God, that stuff opens their heart. That's what they're afraid of. Because when the heart opens, they can't get to you. It's like, yeah, talk to the hand. I'm not really interested in hearing about you anymore. And that's their big fear right now. Huge. Yeah. So water element is massive.
I love
Massive.
that. I pulled the Mercatan card twice in the past week.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not
The
surprised.
first time I saw it, I like cried and I was like, this is what I see in my dreams. Like, this is the most beautiful place. And of course, she has her mermaid tail, which I'm just like obsessed with being
Yes.
water from at least the chest down as much as humanly possible.
Yeah, because even, the salt water, I say to people, if you're not by the ocean, get in a salt bath every day because it mimics the ocean and it'll cleanse. It actually detoxes negative energy out of the field. So, ideally you want to, unfortunately we have to find different ways to bathe and have our charcoal stuff to make sure it's okay. But you can transform the water. And that's what Dr. Emoto was even saying. He was transforming rivers by just putting his intention in there and moving it. And we don't learn that in school because heaven forbid now the whole world would be in a much better place. They don't put that there. No way.
No, it's crazy. One of the many things that I love learning about is those different types of schools that are teaching the stuff that you and I believe in. I don't know if you've heard of Acton Academy. Jordan Peterson had his friend who owns it and creates it, and I thought of you, and I'm glad that I remembered to tell you about it.
It just came on my radar
Really?
recently. To go actually research. I've not looked at it yet. But I did. So it's funny you said against that spirit saying pay attention. And that is the way that we need to be moving. And that is how we even say there's going to be different schools, different medical, different, like it's going to morph to a very holistic approach. Yeah.
It was crazy. I was like, I'm just gonna email them because they have a campus right down the street from me in Atlanta.
Oh,
Like,
really?
hey, if you ever want someone to come in and talk about like mental health for kids, like actually we just had someone coming in talking about brain health. And I was like, awesome. Mental
Yeah.
note, like energetic note, like, do you know who I am?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, again, their world is still learning. You got to
Yeah.
understand the psychology world is still shifting. The energy world has so much proof behind it. People need it scientifically, which I did when I started. But the more you get going, that just falls off. You stop looking at that because you start seeing it in your own life. So you don't need justification. Science is for people that need to have something to believe because they don't believe. They're so disconnected here, they don't believe. So the science helps them believe, but it can only take you so far. And then it's you, right? We have more capable, unlimited possibilities in our whole life than science could ever tell you. Why do people why they love like superhero movies? Why do they love Marvel movies? Why do they love, like, you read my book. I'm all about Yoda. Like, why do we love these people and these characters? Because there's some truth in there and you can feel it. You can feel there's truth that we all have those superpowers. And why do you think people are loving Mandalorian with the little baby Yoda and they're all putting their hand out? Like I have kids that are like, I can be baby Yoda, superhero. And I'm like, but you can, because you see me, I work with my hands all day long. I'm pulling energy, moving energy. And then people are like, why am I not using a cane? Why are my cysts gone? What's happening? Because they're in that alignment. But then that key is you got to go home and clean up your home environment or it comes back,
Mhm.
right? Yeah.
100%. I love that.
We are. We're
Yeah.
so, yeah.
I had a big aha moment, which you'll appreciate because it seems like so obvious, but like I feel like all day I'm literally like trying to convince people through like pubmed.gov and like all of these things, like here's the research. But even just in general, for so long, I was trying to convince people why energy is everything and you need to be doing energy work to actually have the life that you want. And I'm like, I literally just heard this podcast 2 days ago about the energy of convincing. And I was like, whoa, I was like, I'm done.
Yep.
I can't, full body chills. Like I can't convince anyone anymore. I'm done. I'm here to answer questions.
Yep.
Do
I had that
it.
philosophy as well. And people, I had to change. I used to see like 30 people a week and I would book 10 months out and then people would come and they like, well, I want this from, I'm like, you know what? And that's where when I changed, I'm like, I want to teach people so they're empowered and I move. That's why I like group work, right? It's like easy, but we get bigger benefits. And that whole kind of one-on-one is great for sure. But for me, I want to teach. That's why there's people like you and other people that love the one-on-ones. There's got to be people for them to go to for sure to get off. But I had that realization. I said, I don't want to work. I said, Spirit, I don't want to work with anybody that's a tire kicker. I want to work with people that actually want to make a difference in the world. So when they go home, they're affecting their families and friends, and they're out in the world, and get them moving and empowered like what you're doing, right? You're affecting so many people and you could feel it. And that's exactly when I stopped going, I don't have to prove anything to you. You have to be willing to step up. Oh, sweetheart. See,
Arthur's like, oh, wow.
it's like, I love the energy. Here I am.
He said, I get to hear Tracy's voice every day, and it makes me so happy.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Yeah, I have people where they show me when they're watching the videos, they send me pictures with there's their dogs.
Yeah,
sitting
I
there.
tagged you in something this weekend.
That's you did too. I get them all the time. I love them. I'm like, oh, even babies. When I've worked with people that couldn't get pregnant and then they're having babies.
Oh,
And then their babies, because they hear my voice so much, they're like, every time your video comes on, the baby's like this. And then now we had we've had it a couple of times. I've been doing lives or I'm on a Miraculous monthly call that we do. And they'll send me, they're like, oh my gosh, you got to say hi in the comments, like say hi to so-and-so, or I'm on a webinar. The last webinar I did, we had one of our babies, he's like 4, and he's like, oh, there they all call me Auntie Tracy, you know, it's so funny. And then say hi. And then I go to the camera. So that's why sometimes you hear me say hi to the kids and they're like, oh, she sees me. But even though I haven't seen them because they live in different countries, but they've come forth because they recognize the energy, they recognize being there. And I have a lot of people where I've had conversations with their children before they came down, and then they're like, no, I'm not having a baby. And I'm like, okay, very careful. And sure enough, they're like, oh, I'm pregnant.
I'm really excited. So my best friends are pregnant with twins.
Beautiful.
And this is like, as you can imagine from my history that we were talking about, like, it's just like a really big deal. Like I was like hysterical, like crazy trauma response when they told me. And like, I keep thinking, I'm like, I can't wait to like listen to you on speakerphone with like them next to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Like amazing, right?
Yeah.
Amazing. It's literally because they're not shut off, right? We get shut off in those first 2 years. So they don't get shut off. I have chills head to toe. So they hear it and they know it and they're embracing it. And then it's just beautiful, the connections they have with their parents because they do the work and they understand. And it's just a very pure, good, divine connection. And they always see them. They're like, why is my kid standing in the mirror like this or looking off? And I know they see things. I'm sure they'll ask them and they're 2 and they're reciting things that they've seen that they shouldn't know anything about. And I'm like, yeah, they should, because they're bringing all their wisdom. So children are amazing, amazing.
I'm really excited. Thankfully, I have a little practice with Archer. I'll see him staring at something and I'll be like, is there something here, bud? And he'll be like, his eyes will get bigger. And I'm like, I look at my calendar. I'm like, we'll be talking about this in therapy on this day. Just hold tight.
Well, also too, on understand that there's more energy on the planet than ever before. So there's a lot of our family and loved ones on the other side, as well as our guys that have come forth right now. So the animals, as you know, they're so telepathic and they don't have a veil. So they are actually, mine are constantly, you know, I have 2 cats and a dog, and mine are always like, well, and they're off the charts. And so I'll see them come through once in a while. Like it's like, oh, I see you, someone comes, and then they're all together. So understand your pets will be more they're more on, I shouldn't say on guard, they're more aware because there's so many more beings from the other side helping us, but they're also more aware of the beings that you need to get out of your house or to stay away from. So they're really doing double duty that they've done before, but I mean like they're really heightened right now. Yeah.
Yeah, we're definitely feeling that.
Yeah. Oh, you guys are gonna have fun. I love them. They're just so sweet. You got to tell them how much you love them every day. That's the best thing they love to hear.
100. I think I tell him that like 100 times a day.
I know. I do too. I'm kind of bad.
No, I love it. The cats are so freaking cute.
They're just hilarious. So he's sleeping. Let's see if he stays. He already said hello to you. So now it's like, okay, I can go sleep now.
I love that he can relax while we're talking.
He can. He can. It's beautiful. So what is one thing, I feel like I need to pull a card for your audience.
I was going to say, I'm trying to tell you telepathically what I want to talk about.
I know. Or like, there we go. Boundaries, setting boundaries, not to be afraid going through what's unfolding. I did this thing on TikTok today, and I talk about this a lot, and they're saying to share it with your audience if they're having some fear, is to understand that no matter what you're changing inside or the outer world, look at it from a mountain peak, like you're up here, and take a high level view, because from here to where do you want to go? The high level view is where you want to go is out here, right? And that would be your end result. So whatever it is, it just whatever you see. So we'll do I'll just talk about the financial world just because everyone can relate. Not everyone has a health problem, not everyone, but or even your connection to God. That's always my favorite one. Everyone always says, like, what's your favorite? It's always intuition, connection to God, your health, and then your family, friends, and then your wealth is here. But we got to move it all together. It's a wheel, as you know. So if they were doing finances and this was a picture they wanted to be there. So right now, the people are like, okay, the banks are collapsing, the system's moving, where are we going? They can in here. So here's the end result, better humanity. We don't have to work as hard. Taxation eventually goes away. We have a better for all of the world, not just a few people at the top. But what's in here? This is the forest. So we can see, okay, that's over there. I got to get from here to here. But in the forest is, it's going to be this system and do this and that system. And it's grabby energy, right? So your way of doing it, and I shared this with one of my clients this morning. The way I see that is when I look back in my life and all the changes I needed to make, it's like a dark hallway in a way. And there's lots of doors. And I was walking like this, and it felt unbalanced sometimes and, not stable. But as I kept walking, the doors would close behind. And then when I come out of that hallway where I am now, it's like a beautiful field, and it's very calm. So if you're looking over here, know that all this information is going to come. We don't know exactly. Spirit is constantly moving energy. So humans make one different decision. This trajectory changes. And I think that's what people get frustrated and forget when they really understand everything's energy. So as the human race, as all humanity, we have to keep raising that love to move over and say, this is what we desire, want, right? Because that's what we're going to get in the end over here. So remember, as you're going through this, you're going to hit a swamp. You might hit one of those like sinking pits of sand pits. You might hit and it might feel very uncomfortable, and kind of like the last couple of years, right? When they were throwing all that stuff, people were holding steady and they're like, oh my God, I'm never going to get out of my house. Oh my God, they're going to put me in a camp. Oh my God. So they were all this crap that people were throwing around. They were losing the end goals. It's going to be over. We're going to get out of it, and something different's going to happen. So see how much time you waste in here. So you want to know you're going through the gauntlet. Know sometimes you're going to have to throw some leeches and snakes off you. Go through that, have support like what you're doing, what I'm doing. We all come together to support each other and keep going to where the end goal is. And that's going to help you have better boundaries as well. Does that make sense? Oh, well, that one we threw up. Okay. Okay, you're going to laugh. It flew out. Increase boundaries.
These cards hold increased boundaries. And how many cards are in your deck so they have perspective on how amazing that is?
4.
Yeah.
I'm going to create another one, a wealth deck, I think, and a health deck. So we're going to separate them, one health, one wealth, like just really cater to both. So, but they take a long time because we had to design it specifically, and then we have to infuse it. And then I had to, we kept going back and forth, and they're nice cards, right? But increase boundaries. So this is like, no, spirit cracks me up. And we just said it'll ground you. So if people just tune in, I just think that part of the energy, if I go through here, through the heart drive, which your heart drive, right, is your like hard drive on your computer. It's the stored mother brain of your whole body. So let's increase boundaries, but they're showing for everybody to increase boundaries in all areas of their lives. So yes, it's internal and external, but when you know information, you feel it strongly, don't waver. They're saying this is not the time to waver. This is the time to be steady. And exactly, they show it like, what are the pirates? You said it. I'm losing my word. The thing the stethoscope. Yeah. When they look through, I'm like the periscope. Yeah. I'm like, what's that thing there? I had a bit of like brain fart there, spirit. Okay. So they're showing that, like, really make sure you keep it out. You keep your eye on that prize and keep moving it. And they show it like moving like this, because you're going to have to change, alter. But if you keep your boundaries strong, keep your body nice and stable, grounded, centered, like all in alignment at the hips, command the hips and move down and stabilize, then you are not going to feel as shaky, but you'll feel a little bit of this going through it. Like I just said, but then it's gonna be more solid, more solid, more solid, and we're gonna pop out that other end. It's gonna be like, oh, okay. And that's what this next, to the end of this year and then a little bit into next year. And now if humans decide to change and not be so angry and mad at everybody and not, because people think waking up is knowing that the government's been screwing you for a long time. I'm like, that's not waking up. That's just having a new awareness.
Yeah.
Waking up is here, your heart, right? Like, how do you get through your trauma and get rid of your roots and make yourself a better person? That's waking up.
Yeah.
But yeah, so if humanity decides to move quicker that way, we'll get to that end goal quicker as a collective. But don't kid yourself. Everybody that's doing this work now, all of us, we're already there. And we're going to get more and more of it. So the city can burn around you, but that doesn't mean it's touching you. And that's where the boundaries come in. Don't let it touch you because you're in control. You are the guru and master of you, and your energy will determine what's going on around you.
Ooh, I would love for you to share about that, because I love, that's one of my favorite things that you've taught me is about, like, there's no guru, there's no like master person.
Yes, that was actually gurus and masters was created actually by dark energy. So there's two worlds that we always need to look at, as there's and I talk a lot about this, angels, demons, stuff like that. So they're real, and people, and I give lots of real life examples. Many people then go, oh my God, I've seen them, I've experienced them. So the reason the gurus and masters was created, and you see it in holistic space, you see it in churches, it's that same hierarchy, and it was to keep you separate from your divine self. So it was still to create a division and a separation, which would make you search, like, oh, I got to achieve this, I got to achieve that. Look at how many people were gurus and masters. Like even okay, I'm going to bring it up. They say sensitive, but look at what just came out. And we've been saying this for a long time with the Dalai Lama, right? Okay, so people are worshiping. And I'm going to share something that was shared with me in a vision. And it actually scared me when I first saw it years ago. And then I realized what it was, is I always say to people, bring in the Christ light within, which is just this beautiful vibration of light, right? But I have had a lot of interactions with the Christ energy. Now I have lots of interactions with many different energies. So I'm moving religious side. It has nothing to do with religion, as you know. And one of the things that he said is it's so important that people understand, and a lot of people will get this because of the religion side. He's like, I can't help anyone if you worship me. And I said, yeah, you want me to share that with people? They're going to get so pissed off. He's like, no. He's like, what they must understand. And this was years ago. And I had to really, this is where I really figured it out. He's like, we are the same. We are one. We are equal. We are all one. So it's interesting how people say, well, we're all one. We're all connected, but worship this master, this guru. So they're on a pedestal. He says, as soon as you put me on a pedestal, I can't help you because we're one. What I want you to do is to work with me and excel past where I was while I was in that time and energy. And I'm like, well, that's a pretty big different teaching. And I didn't share it for a long time because I'm like, well, I don't want to, everybody's allowed their own space, totally. But I got it. And I was like, right, as soon as we worship or put someone on a pedestal, we give away our power and then we dumb down what we have inside. But if we're one, we can take the energy, like you and I can bask in each other's energy. We can bask in the Christ consciousness or Mother Mary, or maybe they have angels, they have Archangel Michael, or maybe they've got Ganesh, or they got one, whoever out there, they can all help you. But we're collective as one. And when we take in that energy, we start to reclaim your master and guru of yourself, because you are the master and guru of yourself. You are in charge of you. Now you don't give out any power. So look what's happened in the world. They've created these masters and gurus, hierarchy. Oh, well, then I'm going to give my power away to the government, or I give it away to the banks, or I give it away. See how they've done it? And they've slipped it in to make you think, well, they have 50 credentials behind their name, so they must know what they're doing. No, that doesn't mean anything. What you know what you're doing is what's happened here and how have you transpired and changed. And that's where then your energy will change. So yeah, no masters, no gurus. I always say the master and guru of you is you. And even when you have your divine connection with the God of your understanding, universe divine, that's your sacred connection.
Right.
That is not an authority connection. There's no one in the sky going, and it's, they're not in the sky going, well, and how dare you did that mistake, you're gonna go. Like, that's not happening. It's like, you were there to learn. Good job. When you come out of it, your team on the other side cheers you constantly. There is no judgment. So if there's no judgment, and I've died, I've had multiple near-death experiences. I actually died. I flatlined, and no one's judging on the other side. They're not judging. Like, that is all man-made fear. And that's how I really was able to solidify and go, yeah, there are no masters and gurus. We're just love. We're equal. We are love. And we're just, you know what? So I woke up 22 years ago. I had more experience. So if I can take that and help somebody else push their experience and they can learn from it and be their sovereign being, we've all gotten ahead. Because you're going to go different places. And that's it. When we embrace our inner guru with our connection to God, game over. You will change lives everywhere you go just by being you. You don't have to say anything.
I mean, that's like the best description of authenticity ever.
Thank you. It's just how we live it, though. It's like, it's so true, but it's hard. It's a simpler concept, but it's hard for people to really wrap their head around, because we've been trained, right? Oh, the grandma knows better, the teacher knows better, right? It's an authoritative space.
Mm-hmm.
And worship. Well, I don't see any of that. Worshiping doesn't do anything except give your power away.
Did you ever watch Dharma and Greg?
I did. I haven't heard about that show forever.
I love that show. And it's the only show that was like very classic hippie, very classic wealthy, all the certifications.
Was it the 90s?
Yeah.
Dharma? Yeah, I'm like, wasn't that in the 90s?
I watched it recently though.
Yeah.
And her relationship with her very hippie parents, she doesn't call them mom and dad. She calls them by their name. And like everything about their dynamics is like team related, like give, receive, as far as like advice and like anything else. And I don't know, I loved that show so much as a kid, and rewatching it now as an adult, learning all the things that I've been into the last couple of years. It was a really cool experience to be like, oh, that's why I liked it so much, because like I related to their relationship as a family.
Well, and it's interesting you say that, because even I did TikTok talking about shows to watch in the financial realm, like if you want to have an understanding. And a lot of people are like, no, TV's all bad. And I said, no, there is another side to it. And it's exactly what you're saying. There's programming that gets seeded out back to like the Marvel comics or Star Wars, or like you said with Dharma and Greg and the Union. These are all seeded to help wake you up. Well, this is happening over here too. So there's a lot of the dark stuff. But when you watch this, you can get an education and go, oh my gosh, like that's what's really going on. And I know when I watch shows, people are surprised. Like, I'm a movie nut. And when I watch shows or something, it's a very specific reason why I'm watching it. I'm not just watching it to go. And I'm like, so when I saw the show Devils, you've heard me talk a lot about it on Prime. It's called Devils with they call him the guy that used to be on Grey's Anatomy, Patrick, is it Dempsey?
Dude, I have a crazy thing to tell you about him in a second.
Okay, well, I'll tell you, when I watched that, I'm like, oh my God, that's exactly what goes on. And they are telling the world what goes on in banking. They're telling the manipulation. They're telling all of this.
Oh my God.
And there's one point, and I always said, when I left that space, and you've heard me say this, I had an opportunity to go work in the pensions, huge money, and I went to do what I'm doing now. And I said, I walked down the stairs, I was torn, single mother, like, do you take the good money or do you start like bare bones again, right? And I walked downstairs. I said, okay, Spirit, I'm going to take a leap of faith, go do what I love. And I want to help people. I'm not selling my soul to the devil anymore. And people would say to me, why do you say that? And I said, because that industry is like selling your soul to the devil. I said, it's so corrupt when you start to see what's going on. And sure enough, there's a scene in the show Devils where the Patrick Dempsey guy says, well, they call us devils for a reason. And it hit me. And I was like, I got chills just talking about it. I was like, and it was confirmation, because I kept saying that that's what it would be like. Cause I said, you don't understand the demonic running through that. Like, so TV there are good things to learn. Okay. So what's your crazy story? I want to hear.
He's from Turner, Maine, which is a tiny town
Okay.
where my family is from. My mom babysat him.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Oh, my
And
word.
he donates a lot of money to their little town, their school, and their fire department. My grandfather built the school and was their head firefighter.
Wow. That's so cool. I'm glad to hear he gives back that way. I don't know much about him. I just have seen
I
him
don't
on.
know anything either. And then also, I kind of took it as a homework assignment to watch Jupiter Ascending with Channing
Yes.
Tatum and Mila Kunis. And
Yes. Yeah,
um, Billy Carson was like, this is the best way to describe like what life and planets and stuff is like. It's pretty mind blowing.
it is. I've seen it. It's great. And it is actually, I agree. Like these are the ones to really watch. Well, even, okay, so even we're going to go back really old because I'm old. Only in actually, I have to say that in age they say, but I'm actually starting to wipe out the age altogether too. Like when people say I'm like going no age, I know
Yeah.
it sounds, but we're not age. That's another thing by them. So I'm starting to say like no age. But so when I was younger and and we started to look and at things like the Star Wars and stuff, is it did start to, that's what's waking us up, right? With our inner power inside and knowing that we had these skills and ability. And that's why the Matrix, we'd always say the Matrix movie is real. It's real if you understand what they're talking about. And people got it in here, but they didn't equate it up here. So it stayed, it awoken something within them, but they didn't realize that it was real. And now a lot of people are realizing how you can manipulate the matrix. But this is what the darker souls, they've known that. They just didn't want us to know that. And now they're losing. The matrix is glitching, just like in the movie, and it's pulling down, right? So that's when people are like, the matrix is real. I mean, yeah, it's real when you start to understand energy. So all of these shows are so, so, so important. And even here's a current one, if anybody really is into this. Did you ever watch Star Trek?
Yes.
Okay, I'm a really big Star Wars, Star Trek fan. Just a sci-fi nut. So Star Trek has a series out called Picard, and it is Picard from the original Star Trek generation, Next Generation. So season 3. So watch season 1 and 2, but season 3 is on right now, and they bring the whole original cast back.
Oh my God.
It is so telling for what's going on right now, and they got to save Earth. I
Wow.
have from head to toe, and I was talking with some of the people in the community, and I'm chilled head to toe. Like it's nonstop. I am telling you guys, even if you can watch the 3rd season, it's all about the Borg changelings and taking over things that you can't tell is real and not real. They can't discern what's real and not real, and how they got to figure out like who's real. But it's so they bring the original Enterprise back. They bring the original cat. Like when you see, Worf and stuff, they're all like in their 60s and 70s now. And you're like, wow, I remember them when they were all young. But it's extremely telling. And we always said Star Trek, Star Wars, we're telling our future, especially Star Trek is a very futuristic, energetic shift. But if you want to really have a look in current energy, they've knocked it out of the park. The other 2 seasons are very telling too, because they go back 400 years to try to reset something and end up in 2021. And they end up in looking in what's going on in California and ice agents and stuff. And they're all like, what is wrong with these people? Like, are you Neanderthals? Like, we don't live like this. Like, what
Yeah.
the heck? And they can't conceptualize because they don't live in a world like that anymore. It's a peaceful world. It's a loving world. So that's why I say to people, if you want to understand right now, if you need that, because sometimes that can help awaken you, I would highly recommend for people to just get in the energy of it. But it's very telling of what's going on Earth right now for Earth's
Into that.
transition. Yeah. Yeah.
So
We're
fun.
leaving to the new, right? So anyone has to also remember that we have to shed our old selves to go to the new Earth. And that's why a lot of people are like, why are so many people leaving? Because they said they can't hit the vibration to go to the new Earth. And the frequency is moving so quickly. So that's why it's important to do our inner work so we can shed our old selves to go to our new selves.
Wow. I love that.
Yeah. Our vibrations. I'm going to pull another card for you guys. Why not? I love doing them. They're fun. We got to play. And you're so sweet. I'm so proud of everybody here listening. You're so blessed to have Fallon in your world. Like you've just leaps and bounds, and You remind me in ways of a little bit of my younger self in the sense of just tenacious and getting it and knowing like you're not stopping. You just know you feel it at all costs. And that's an energy that you carry out in the world that you're going to keep doing. And it doesn't mean we don't have hiccups. Like people think, do you have hiccups? And yeah, we have hiccups. We do, but we have the tools and the skills to get through them. And that's the learning. That's what scares the old world. So it's interesting. So the card we pull is to remind everyone to let go. And what did we just say? We have to let go of our old selves to come into the new earth and become our new selves. So thank you, God, for everybody listening to be strong, to be in alignment of letting go of your old self so you can raise the vibration and be safe to walking into your new self.
Perfect. Amazing.
Isn't it? It's very cool. Very cool.
Feels complete.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful for all of your time. I got to spend so much time with you.
I love it. And for everybody listening and watching, like it's just, I hope they'll really absorb that energy because it's, I know I move my hands a lot, but it's the frequency of my voice. I'm careful with my words because it's my voice and my hands, which they've measured, but it's like, it freaks people out. But at the same time, if people can listen and just let go of your old self, it's safety. They keep showing that image of the trapeze net, like there's a safety net and we all have it and the world has it. So there's no Mad Max days, guys. No, just let go.
Love that.
Yeah,
So if
net.
you're listening on Spotify, that means, and because you don't have the video, you need to go to fallonjordan.com and subscribe to my email list. And then you'll get all of the video content because this one is definitely going to be out on video so that you can see the magic that Tracy does with her hands, because that's how she's moving energy. And it's just so cool, right? It like validates like all of the types of people who do talk with their hands. And it's like, oh wow, like I'm moving energy and creating space and letting things go and increasing my boundaries and like all of these beautiful things. So definitely make sure that you get the video of this because it's very, very powerful.
Well, and thank you because what you're doing in the world is needed and it's important. And I'm so grateful that you stuck to your mission. And it's just getting going. Because we're all going to be pulling each other up because the world's going to need every one of us. And I think if anybody's listening and says, where's my place? You have a place and it will be shown very soon.
100%. And if you're following on Instagram, I'm just glad that you finally get to hear us have a conversation together because I share like absolutely every video and reel that Tracy does on my Instagram stories. So just so much love sprinkled all over the place.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's always a delight.
Thank
I just love you and I love what you're doing. So I'm so grateful and may your whole following continue to be just explosive and blessed, and people that get to work with you, they're blessed because I don't say that lightly because your heart is in the right place. And that's why they're so blessed to be able to be on their journey with you in that way. So
thank you so, so much. That means the world.
well done.
Awesome. Well, I will see everyone next time on the Get Validated podcast. And just so much love to you, Tracy.
Much love to all of you guys. Good job.
Bye.